Hey, are you an entrepreneur on your path of building your first or next six-figure business? Do you have a community of people with success and the direction that you want to go to hold you accountable and develop you to be the best entrepreneur you can be? Well, if you don't have consistent development or community, I'd like to invite you. This is one of the main reasons 90% of entrepreneurs fail at business. They don't have consistent development or community. Entrepreneur Zero to 100 is the place for those specifically on their path of creating a six-figure service-based business. And inside Entrepreneur Zero to 100, we cover things like building the perfect offer to have clients rolling through the doors, money mindset so you know how not to fumble the bag once you get it, systems and hiring virtual assistants to automate your business, sales and building your own sales teams, social media and creating content that sells, weekly group coaching calls. You even get a one-on-one call with myself once per month to ask any questions and peel back the layers in your business. And too much to cover here. If you're interested in joining, it is only $1 to join for a limited time using our $1 promo code. This will give you access to our weekly live group coaching calls where you can get your questions answered, and you also get to meet and connect with other entrepreneurs on the inside. To take advantage of this offer, send me a DM on Instagram at _Justin Carter, or you can visit our website at www.pivotbizz.com/EZ100 for more information. Link is also found in the show notes. What's going on, my beautiful people? Welcome to yet again another episode of the Pivot Mindset Podcast. My name is Justin. I am your host. And man, I'm super excited to have you joining with me on yet again another episode. If you're listening to this episode for the very first time, that we believe that life is all about the pivots, and those who decide to make the pivots decide to become successful. That success is a deliberate decision that you make each and every day about how you choose to adjust with life and what comes with it. And so, glad to have you. Just some quick housekeeping. Please give this podcast a rating and review. If this is your very first time rocking with your boy, if this is your very first time hanging with me, I love to get some feedback. So once you take a listen, provide a review, whether it be on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. For my YouTube gang, my people that are checking things out on YouTube, celebrate you. Feel free to give the video a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to the page, subscribe to the channel. And without further ado, I like to first tee this up by introducing you to our special guest. So y'all know that we don't have guests on the pod that much, but I've talked about in previous episodes that that's something that is going to be changing relatively soon, that in 2023, we're actually going to be starting to ramp up our guest that'll be joining us. And so, I'm honored to have my brother here. You guys heard him on the Fathers podcast and then your Circle podcast. And there was a group of us. And so it's just him. So, and if you follow me, you probably have seen him on my Instagram, and we've done Instagram lives together and all that kind of stuff. Let me introduce Ronnel, man. Ronnel, go ahead and come off the mute, man, and let the people know a little bit about you. Introduce yourself.
Hey, they call me the favorite host and MC, right? So I'm your favorite host and MC, Ronnel Blackman. Get a great chance to rock out with some different companies from, Home Depot, Atlanta Falcons, Atlanta Hawks, Atlanta Track Club, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, different, groups and companies. I live by the principles of, or should I say the legs of fashion, fitness, faith, and family. So everything that I do is built around that. I'm a podcaster now, so almost a year in, and truly blessed to be a part of this. Serial entrepreneur. Ooh, goodness.
100%.
Yes, I got multiple businesses
You
that
do.
I have done. Yeah, man, that I'm a part of, and that we plan on, kind of moving forward as well. So proud father, married for 16 years, father of two, little boy, little girl. And man, just truly blessed to be, on this podcast with you, Justin. So thank
100%.
you for that. And I'm here, CEO and co-founder of More Than Me. Yeah, I gotta say that. Gotta say that. The
There it
wife will
is.
kill me.
There it is.
She's my CFO, but she'd be like, "Hey,
She holding
you
it
better
down.
plug. Yeah, you better plug them more than me."
You
No, no,
better
no.
plug
Yeah.
that.
So
Better plug that.
yes, sir, man.
Man,
But
well, bro,
this is
so
where we
glad to
at.
have you
Talk to me.
on. Man, honestly, y'all, this is like we randomly was like, yo, let's just crack the mics open and just go at it.
Yeah.
In a good way. Like, I was just doing dinner and I was like, man, I really want to record a podcast. And I was telling Jazz, I was like, babe, I want to record something, but I'm not like who gonna randomly just hop on a pod right now? And then I had to think through like who had a setup that, like who's got a mic, who's
Mm-hmm.
got
Mm-hmm.
some okay lighting. And I ain't saying you gotta have the best setup, but I was like, right now, like let me see what he
That's,
like he
that's
did.
that.
'Cause I
I'm
had to go
decent.
through my
I'm
circle
decent.
to just remember like who hot podcasts. So man, I appreciate you like jumping on last minute. Man, really the topic of today and really I just wanted to kind of flow through some conversation that I think will really inspire and motivate you guys. I
Mm-hmm.
think one of the biggest pieces about making pivots, right, and making transitions in your life as we prepare for a new year, one of the things that I'm always evaluating is the people that I'm closest to and that I'm connected with. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's people that are here for a season. There are
Mm-hmm.
people that are here for a lifetime. And I believe for me at least, something around the start of the year starts to get me thinking through, man, like what did I accomplish this year? How much money did I make this year? How
Yeah.
many new people did I meet this year? What events did I go to? What travel did I do? All that kind of stuff, right? And the other thing that I'm always thinking through is how did I do with my relationships?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just tell you, and this is something that I was actually talking to my other friend about. Was for me personally, and I would say this year, and then even more so in 2023. Like I'm gonna try to turn it up as much as possible, but I've wanted to become more relational. Like I realize, and I want to kind of get some feedback from you because I feel like you're probably the opposite, but I want to kind of get your feedback on it. But I'm desiring to become more relational because I feel like the next part of my life is going to require me to leverage relationship more
Mm-hmm.
and not just transactional relationship. Like up until this point, I mean, obviously I've got relationships and I've got connections. I've got people that I love, all that kind of stuff. But when I think of, like the overwhelming majority of people on my phone, like most of
Mm-hmm.
them are transactional. It's I
Mm.
do a thing for them or they do a thing for me and I love them for it. But like that's the bulk of the relationship is the transaction that we benefit from another outside of, man, who am I just in relationship with? And
Yeah.
so Jasmine actually, she is the opposite in this way. Like she talks to her friends every day. All of them.
Yeah.
Like all
Yeah.
of them. She's got two, three friends that she talks to every day. Like
Mm-hmm.
every day. And that's not a
Yeah.
day that goes by that she don't talk to her three friends. She talks to her mom every day.
Okay. Okay.
And so it's like I don't do that.
Mm.
I could go a week without talking to my mom.
Yeah.
I could go
Ooh.
weeks without
Yeah.
talking to my friends because I'm just so again, I'm just so transactional. I want to improve on that. So
Right.
let me know, like for you, like how do you when it comes to like your relationships and the
Mm-hmm.
people that you have closest to you, like how would you describe your relationships and kind of the space that they hold with you?
So I think for me, my relationships in the space that they hold is what am I leaving? What am I leaving them with? Right? Like what am I being intentional with my conversation? Are we am I doing something to help them? And one of the things that I learned with working with a company that I did in this leadership program that we had, it was being interested over interesting,
Mm,
right? A lot of times we know much about ourselves and we can very much share and talk all day about the things that we're interested in and what we're going
100%.
through and what we have going on and whatnot, but very seldom, very rarely do we ask other individuals like, tell me a little bit about you.
Mm,
Tell me what's moving. What's your needle moving activity, or do you have any plans as we close out this year? How was
yeah.
Thanksgiving? How were the different the different events that happen throughout the year? Your travels, right?
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
family members. Like talk to me about that, and I think that allows for you to develop a deeper relationship that goes even deeper. And it could have started off as a transactional
Right. Okay.
relationship.
But what do you do?
So
Like, how do
go
you,
ahead.
like, how are you so, like, how, like, what are, like, what do you do to be relational? Like, are you,
Mm.
like, how do you do that? Like, how do you walk that
So
out?
I so I think number one is just finding out and through conversation, just some interest, right? So asking questions. I'm huge on asking questions. And if someone doesn't know, be like, if you did know, what would it be? Right?
Mm, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
hey,
100%.
so what do you think about whatever, even if there's a topic or a conversation that I'm thinking about,
Right.
say for instance, if it's centered around getting together with family, right? Like, man, how is your family? Are you from here?
Yeah.
Like, man, oh, you're not from here. Where are you from? You from up north? Oh man, it's cold up there. Are you
Right.
glad that you moved down here? Just kind of tracking and going from one realm to the next, especially depending upon where you've met the person,
Okay.
right? So your environment is a determining factor, but then also, age range, age group, right? What's a hot topic with the different age groups? Are you all on the gram? Are you, kind of, hey, swap out this contact? Am I meeting someone at an event, at a club, at a,
What about like your,
go ahead.
like, what about your, like, closer friends? Like, how do you, like, for me, I think the
Mm,
challenge is keeping, I guess that's probably where my challenge is more so cultivating the current relationships that I've got.
mm,
Like your group of friends, like how often for you, like how
yes,
often are you, and I don't know if that's just a woman thing or if that's how people act that are relational. I don't know if that's
right,
just exclusive
right.
to my wife. If she talk, like, do you talk to all your friends every day? How do you, what does that look like with your current, like, circle, your current friends?
So, yes, talk to my friends, current friends, almost every day. Almost
Really?
every day. Yeah, and it might just be like, hey, I'm checking in, checking up on you as I'm
Wow.
driving, right? I'm sharing with you some of the thoughts that I've had, maybe not necessarily sharing my plans with you
Okay.
because I definitely want to make sure that I separate, you know, some of the things that I have a question about,
Right.
with the people that are closest to me, because the people sometimes that are closest to you will always revert back to where they remember you coming
100%.
from.
100%.
So they may not be as encouraging, but I mean, it just might be just almost like a well check, right? Like,
So
hey,
you
what's
talk to
going
your
on,
friends day. See, I thought it was
bro?
just me.
I
I
do,
thought
I do.
it is just me.
But this is the thing though. The
Uh,
thing that I've recognized is when I do talk to them, I am. It is a moment where I can be distracted in a sense. It's a healthy distraction from traffic or from some. It's not while I have something that I need to do. Like if I'm in the nitty gritty and I'm working, or if I'm at home, or if I'm on a computer doing, if there's a need for me
yeah.
to be somewhere else, I can't, that's not a time to talk to friends. But I do carve out that time to check in. And to me, it allows for me to truly see even myself and the people that I'm in relationship with,
That makes
right?
sense.
Like,
That makes
do we
sense.
have a commonality,
That makes sense.
right? Or is your thinking now way off, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. Like for me, like I said, it's just not a thing. Like I don't,
Hmm.
and again, it's not that I'm not thinking about people. It's not that I
Hmm.
don't care about the people. I don't. I love the people that I'm talking about. I just
Right.
think I don't know. Like for me, I just think I get so. I think I'm so like one track minded that sometimes you
Hmm.
know what, if I connected with anything, like for me, you know, it's one of my pet peeves
Right.
is when people like interrupt someone. And I feel like I've already interrupted you like twice.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Because I do the same. So keep going.
because because I just want people to finish their thought. Or
Mhm.
when you know how like you're in a room or something like that and somebody's telling a story and they keep getting distracted and they won't finish the story. I'm
Mhm.
desperately, like, for me, everything is blocked out. I'm focused on you getting the story out. I'm not
Yes.
a I'm very like I think I'm very much I don't know. I don't know if I call it like task oriented or one thing at a time, though I feel like I juggle a lot. But I
Mhm.
think for me to if I'm listening to somebody, I'm trying to intently listen. Or if
Yes.
somebody's telling me a story, I'm trying to intently get that story. But I think that can, for me, when it comes to the whole relational piece and the communication piece, is I think that a part of that is like I can for me, it's like, yo, unless I'm really like ready to have a hour and a half conversation, I probably ain't gonna hit you up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's got something to do with it.
Absolutely.
But again, for me, this is a part of my, and I'm telling the podcast this. This is a part
Yeah.
of when we talk about pivoting and making the
Mm-hmm.
adjustments. Is like there's areas of all of our lives that I think it's important for us to just be honest and transparent and say, hey, like this is something that I feel like has held me back. And
Absolutely.
connecting with people that you know are strong in those areas, y'all have never seen this dude Ronnel in person operate a room. But this dude, I'm telling y'all, man, I've never seen
Bro.
somebody like this operate a room like this that don't know him, by the way. He walks in the room and there's probably one or two people in that room that knows him. By the end of the night, he's hugging everybody on the way out the building. And you like, how in 32 minutes did you meet 98 people? And I'm just like, yo, what
Yeah.
did this? And so, but I think that's such an element, obviously, of your success is
Mm-hmm.
every time we talk about accomplishments or something that you've done, it's such and such called me about this opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It's my friend looped me in, somebody referred me. I was at an event that somebody that I knew invited me to or
Mm-hmm.
had me at, and I met this person. And so much, it seems
Absolutely.
like so much of your opportunities come from your relationships and comes from how
Mm-hmm.
you leverage that gift of yours. Talk about that a little bit because again, for me and people that are like me that may say, you know what, I'm
Uh-huh.
at this space where I know I can get better and I want to get better relationally
Mm-hmm.
can benefit really from talking to somebody that I think is so relationally strong.
So number one is I remember my godfather telling me long time ago, you're only one person away from changing the trajectory of where you want to go, right? And if you are closed off to people, right? If you don't just genuinely care about people, because they can sense that. They can sense if you're at a networking event and you're
Yeah.
walking around and you're passing out your business card, hey, this is me, I'm such and such, this is me, I'm such and such, hey, how you doing? And you're not interested in other people, they sense that, yeah, you'll see that card on the floor a lot, right?
100%. Yeah.
But
100%.
but if
That's funny.
you intently, kind of get to know certain people and then treating them like they're just regular, not not allowing for their status, not allowing for
Mm,
their name to cloud how you treat them. Like
yeah.
don't like treating everyone on the same level,
Right.
right? And when I say the same level, I mean just out of just a humanistic respect for that person, right? Like, hey, this person may be a billionaire, but guess what? They still had to get dressed this morning. They still had to
100%.
brush their teeth. They
100%.
still had to, kind of travel. May not have traveled, they may have traveled a little bit
They
more
travel a little bit different. Right.
luxurious,
Right.
right? A little
They
different,
probably
but
didn't
they,
drive
they
to where they got to, but that's
absolutely,
neither here nor there.
absolutely, yeah. Neither here nor there. Neither here. We won't name any names,
Right. Right.
right?
We were
But
just
like, no. So it's just one of those where you just really love on people, and it's funny. I was just having a conversation earlier where they were like, "Man, Ronnell, what is the difference? What is the difference that you believe that you make in others?" And it was a conversation I had with a client, and they just told me, "Man, it just truly feels like you care."
mm,
It feels like when you're at the event, when you're talking to people, I feel your care. It's so transparent. It's so, like you can see it on your face. And granted, I believe that that's just me dealing with a lot of people over the years,
yeah.
right? And recognizing how people, may act, how people may think, how people may do. And then, I mean, that's a little bit of the psychology background as well, right?
Right.
Just
Right.
me recognizing that, hey,
100%.
I'm always on stage.
Yeah. Yeah. That's real. That's real. So I like that, and I think that really for me that helps because like you. And here's the other thing that I've realized is that so for example, you if you walked in a room, well,
Mhm.
actually, question: do you prepare before you walk in rooms? On your way to the event, are you thinking, here's the questions I'm going to ask?
Okay.
Or here's the people that I'm going to probably be in a room with, and this is what I want to. Do you prepare before you go into rooms, before you meet groups of people?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I have random conversations, the same that I would have with, any of my friends. I treat strangers like my friends, right? I treat strangers like friends that I've never met before.
Okay.
And I'm excited that they're there. Wow, that feeling when you see someone that you haven't seen in a long time. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, how you doing? But I treat it also as a lyrical exercise. Because I mean, this interaction right here might be for naught, right? It may come and go. I don't know how you're going to respond to it, but I just want to. it's one of my five strengths, right? So took the strength finder test
Oh
a
yeah.
long time ago, and woo was one of my strengths, right? Winning others over.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I go in with the goal of winning people over,
Mm,
and when I say winning people over, I want them to have fun,
yeah. Okay.
right? I had someone tell me one time, Ronnel, you allow people, you give people, you
Permission.
allow them to have fun.
Yeah. Man, see,
Permission,
that's
yeah.
but I think that's a big piece. That's a big piece is the fact you go in with this energy of fun.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm see, that's the difference. When I'm at events, and this is helping me for real. Because when I'm
Mm-hmm.
at events, I'm not thinking fun. I'm thinking,
Mm,
let me be professional. Let me be
mm,
um let me be I don't know, like let me be in my in my intelligent bag, or you know what I'm saying, like let me be
hmm At my best.
distinguished. Yeah, let
Let
me
me
be
be at my best. Straight
distinguished.
line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it's definitely serious in ways. For me, I'm like super. I'm a clown with my friends and family and stuff like that. But when
Uh-huh.
I'm in rooms with people that don't know me, I'm the serious guy. Like, not that I'm stone faced, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going into the rooms. Let me think about how to have fun here. Like, how do I break the ice? So that and everybody likes to have fun, right? Like
Right.
everybody, fun is
Yes.
fun, especially in the rooms when it's a bunch of people like me. That's like, yo, who's
Mm-hmm.
these stiff necked, tired,
Right.
everybody
Right.
they all
Collar
these
puffed. Yes. Oh
right.
my goodness,
So
bro.
you walk
Yes.
in
Yes.
to like really break the ice, and people are like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, like that's the guy,
Yeah.
that's the fun guy, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that transcends culture,
You said it.
class, all that stuff.
You said it. You said it. So, and it's funny. You said this, and it reminded me about, to me, how I used to view this negatively, but the fun guy.
Mm,
They used to call me, oh, here comes the fun guy. And I used to take offense to it
yeah.
because it was normally in a professional setting
Okay.
that I would come into play, and they'd be like, oh, here
The
comes the
fun
fun
guy.
guy. Almost like I wasn't serious about
Right.
what I do,
Okay.
or that I wasn't, that I didn't deserve to be there. But what I recognize is everyone doesn't understand that we can do the same thing, have fun while doing it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
life is
real.
too short for me to not enjoy
That's
what
real.
I do.
That's real.
People see me and they're like, yo, hey, you look like you love what you do. I do.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, how do I have fun doing it?
Just have fun doing it, man. It's like that's real, because I think if you, and I know they talk about this in modeling, you've got experience there,
Hmm.
but even when you smile, right, and you talk while you smile, it sounds
Yeah,
different in front of the camera, right?
completely.
It way
Hmm.
different. And it even people that aren't looking at it on video, they're hearing the difference, and your energy can't be neutral while you're smiling.
Yeah,
It just can't.
yeah,
It's literally a body that's connected. And the minute that you do
absolutely.
that, so I think for you, and like I say, I'm still in this stuff, right? It's like for you, it's use that as
Get it.
one of your superpowers. Like, I'm gonna go in this room and I'm gonna just have fun. I'm gonna light up the room with fun,
Hmm.
and
Absolutely.
use that to just kind of break through. I love that. So what? All right, this is my last question, and then we can move. But this is my last question on just
I mean, I'm
you.
enjoying this. I'm enjoying this. Come on, keep going right here, because this is
So
my wheelhouse right here.
yeah, yeah. So for relationships, right? So
Hmm.
back to your established relationships.
Okay.
How many people would you say are your consistent check-in list? Like,
Hmm.
what's is it? I mean, exclude your wife, exclude your kids, all that stuff. But I would just say friends, or friends that are kind of like family.
Hmm.
Is it one a day? Like, is it one person? Is it five people? Are you like Jazz, where you got like three people that you talk to every single day? Like, how many people would you
So
say?
I would say about five. I would say about
Five.
five. Five people. And I keep them on my favorites, right?
Yeah.
So I can just go down the line. Boom, 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 check in, check up. Hey, everything good? Bet. I got a busy, crazy day today. Just wanted to let y'all know I was thinking about you, because those are the moments that I feel like we go through life and we're working hard and we
Yeah.
don't just share it with someone that, hey, I just want you to know I was thinking about you today.
Right.
Like, it's nothing, it doesn't have to be anything more than that. Like, hey, everything good? And you don't know. I've had so many people that have vented to me and just got it off their chest and be like, man, how you feel now? feel great now. Thank you for allowing me to get that off my chest, right?
It's a great
But like
conversation, and they did all the talking.
right, right,
Yeah, no, I know what you're
exactly,
saying.
absolutely, absolutely. Hey, I'm in many of those with you. Yeah,
Yep.
like I'm the one that's always venting, and you're the one that's listening. Like
Yep.
Ronnel, I don't know if I said anything, but hopefully you help. You got help
Right.
right through this. But no, it's really just like I said, checking in, regular everyday life. Even you're highly successful people. So many folks will look at them on social media or something else and think that they have a larger than life style when they do the same things. They have breakfast, they
Yeah,
have
they
lunch, they
do.
have dinner, they go to see
100%.
movies, right? They go bowling, they like to hang out, but then they also love what they do with their job.
Yeah. And like to your and it's funny because I was just talking to a client about this actually. So
Mm-hmm.
the client, one of my clients, she desires, one of her kind of like big audacious goals is to get an A-list celebrity as a client. She does spiritual work
Mm.
and things like that, right?
Okay.
And this is on her like her big dream list is, I want an A-list celebrity as a client.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, Justin, why would an A-list celebrity want to ever work with somebody like me? Right? Like
Mm.
there's probably, there's a million people that these people could work with. Why would they work with somebody
Mm-hmm.
like me? And you just brought up the point that I told her was just because someone is an A-list celebrity doesn't mean they're great with their relationships,
Absolutely.
right? Or just because someone's an
Absolutely.
A-list celebrity doesn't mean they have great relationship with their children. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they might be in the spotlight, they might be in the eye, but that doesn't mean that all aspects of their lives are desirable to them. And so for
Mm.
them, it's like, how do I connect with somebody who do have the results that I have? And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the people, once you get to that level, a lot of the people that have the results that you desire are not at that level. That's probably
Mm.
actually why they have the results you desire. So, right,
Right.
you check off the I'm wealthy, right, list. You check off that
Mm-hmm.
box, bam, checked.
Yep.
But all the other balls you dropped or plates you've dropped on the path of
Mm-hmm.
getting that huge ball, which is a significant one, you can do a lot with that,
Right.
are
Exactly.
often left to fend for after you've
Mm-hmm.
accomplished all there is to accomplish, and you find out, oh shoot, the accomplishment didn't actually get me happiness, and it didn't actually help me
Mm-hmm.
with my joy. I'm rich, but I still got all these issues. So
Absolutely.
I think so like you brought that point up, and I think that's so valuable is when you talk to I'll talk about even the person that is a billionaire but they're lonely, right? Or
Mm.
like they
Mm.
don't have
Yeah.
five people. They
Right.
don't have five people that they could talk to.
They don't. They don't. You know, one of the fears I used to have because I had these lofty goals of making it either to the NBA or NFL. Right when I was little, when I was a
Yeah,
little kid, I was like, "Hey, I'm going pro."
going.
Right, but my fear was I don't want to be. Ooh, man, I just answered a question for myself just saying that. All right, so my fear was always I don't want to be at the top alone. I want to bring everybody else up with me.
Yeah,
Right. So one of the frustrations though was the fact that I always had, I was always, trying to help someone that wasn't maybe trying to help themselves.
yeah,
So I'm spinning my wheels and I'm getting frustrated, I'm getting angry, and I'm getting, you know, um, bogged down. So a lot of it has to do with, when it's that billionaire, man, they're lonely, right?
100%.
When they say eagles fly high and they fly solo, that's that's
Man,
that's a lonely feeling,
man,
right?
yeah,
You don't see the eaglets with them, right?
hundred
You
percent.
don't see, they flying by themselves, and everybody want to be an eagle, everybody want to be the lion, right?
Right.
But it's like to wear that crown. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That
And
crown is pretty heavy. Go
that's
ahead.
heavy. And think about how a billionaire, especially one who is maybe a public figure,
Hmm.
they can't just call up their local whoever or whatever
Right.
to get services. They just can't call up
Hmm.
I'm just going to call up the local psychologist and get some and do a couple sessions.
Right.
They can't
Can't do
cuz they walk in the room in the lobby to wait. Oh,
it.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Now
or
everybody's in their business.
yeah, and it's even worse for celebrities, right? Think of how,
Hmm.
everybody talk about, the Kardashians and all that kind of stuff. I remember watching an episode, I don't know, this was a couple years ago. and they were saying they were super excited about going into a Starbucks to order coffee on their own. And
Mm.
they're like, they made a whole thing. They got dressed for it. It was a whole big like piece. Like the whole episode was, hey, we're getting ready to go to Starbucks first. Like we've been drinking Starbucks for
Yeah.
years, and we've never seen the inside of it.
Wow.
And so they bought outfits, they bought hoodies, they bought all this stuff, right? They came in, they went in
Hmm.
different cars, like they didn't show up in they Range Rovers and all that stuff.
Right.
They just pulled up in normal regular cars. They had the hoodies on, and they walked into Starbucks and ordered Starbucks for the first time.
Wow.
And so it's like you can't even so think about somebody that's
Hmm.
even in that space, in that position, who they even the stuff that we would normally do to
Hmm.
anesthetize the pain, they can't even do. Right? It's like, oh,
Right. Absolutely.
I can't even go and buy oh man, I need a last minute outfit. Where are you gonna go and buy a last minute outfit at?
What?
I gotta
You know
call
how many
somebody to go and get the last
bro,
minute outfit.
bro, you know how many Walmart trips that you can't make
That
now?
you
You
can't
know what I
make.
mean? Like, you
Think
can't
about
make
it.
those.
A pack of gum.
Pub.
A pack of gum. On my way to the gym, right? It's so easy for me.
Hmm.
Oh, shoot, my gas is
Yeah.
low. 30 miles to E. Let me go fill up. Oh,
Right.
shoot, let me go in there and grab a pack of gum.
Hmm.
They can't just do that kind of stuff,
Mm-mm.
right? So I think sometimes we often, right, celebrate, which they are to be celebrated because that is a hard spot to be in.
Right.
A lot of the, I think
Absolutely.
a lot of the, oh, I want to talk about this topic. I want to get your take on this.
Okay.
I think a
Okay.
lot of the our stones that we try to throw at celebrities, whatever is going
Hmm.
on, is with so much ignorance about what that life really looks like and
Man.
what's actually involved in that.
Absolutely.
So, Kanye.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, so
So
Kanye.
Kanye.
Look. Hey man, come on, come
So
on.
what
I'm
is
ready for
and
it because I've
I don't know
been,
how
yeah,
much you've been I don't know how much you've been, vested,
following.
yeah, and all
Yeah,
that's been going
not a
on.
lot, not a lot, but
Okay.
we can. But I got a somewhat of an idea
Yeah. And
of the
I
situation.
personally don't know tons of the details. I know about the whole like Balenciaga and the Gap thing. And,
Hmm.
now I guess it came out that Kim did an ad with their kid after the
Mm,
whole Balenciaga fallout. That was for like $500,000 or something crazy.
mm,
It might
hmm.
have been less,
Hmm.
but it was a significant amount.
Right.
But I think Kanye, right? He's getting such
Uh-huh.
and there's different sides, right?
Right.
There's people that are like, yo, nope, I rock with Kanye, I get it. And there's people that are just stoning Kanye, right? He's in the media, right?
Yeah.
He's taking up space.
Absolutely.
So regardless,
Hmm.
I forget who said it, but they're like all attention is good. No
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah.
They say
No
all
matter
attention ain't
what.
good
Yeah.
attention, but it's like no, all attention you could turn for good some way,
All
somehow.
publicity. All
All
publicity
publicity,
is good.
yes. All
All
publicity is
publicity
good
is good.
publicity.
Yep.
But he's a person that I think is one of the people that I'm talking about who
Hmm.
is in such a different space that we
Hmm.
most common people can't even comprehend the space, who he's met, who he's seen, the conversations
Hmm.
he's had, the meetings he's had
Absolutely.
behind closed doors that nobody would ever know, right?
Hmm.
So like what do you like I guess what is your take on all this kind of Kanye stuff, this media stuff that's been going on, that's kind of been going on in culture or just around
So
that?
so for me, it's a combination because I have experienced, different celebrities and being in the presence of owners and different levels financially with different people from the celebrity status, whether it's entertainers or whatever. But like I think there's a multitude of things, right? So some people have actually gotten things a lot earlier than they probably should have,
Mm,
right? So the level of humility and understanding of the time that it took to get there
right.
might not actually be comprehensive, right? So I'll give you an example, right? So modeling is a very glamorized, luxurious, thing. When you get that bag, you're like, ooh, the money in
Yeah.
modeling. I want to do this forever. But you don't recognize that there's a shelf life on there and
Mm,
that you only have a limited amount of time in
right.
order to make this income, right? But when you get it, especially when you get it early, you think that this is going to be forever.
100%.
This is going to last me all the time. So now I in a sense of I become a person or the person that I think I need to be
Right.
with this money, right? So
Right.
let me go then to
Ooh, the person
Kanye,
that I
right?
think I need to be with this money.
That I think I need to be now that I
Mm.
have this money, right?
Ooh,
I mean, if you think about it,
that's
right, a
real.
lot of things that we don't do, that we do or don't do,
Yeah,
is is connected to the financial level that we're at.
that's true.
Like, if
That's
I don't
true.
have the freedom to go on vacations, I'm really not talking about vacations.
Yeah. Nope. Nope.
If I don't have the freedom to invest in different things, I'm really not talking about investments.
Right.
I'm just looking at them. I'm watching them. Those are those people
Yep.
that do that, that do those things, right? But I think and I truly believe that when you get to a certain level, you try to revert and be the same OU, the same OG, right?
Yeah.
Like the same guy that was back in the, back in the hood or, back when you didn't have things.
Right.
And you try to just say things, and ignorantly, you may say things without recognizing the weight that it holds.
Oh my gosh, dude, this is like, dude, this is that the statement that you that's so good. The statement that you said that when you, I don't know if you said when you get money, but it was like when you do the things that you think you're supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's
Mm-hmm.
such a bar because I know personally for me, right? Like I feel I'm in a, I mean, for me, I'm in a evolution of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing out to see how far this thing goes,
Yeah.
but I'm on a run. You know, I feel like I'm on a
Yes.
run in this season of my life. And when you're on a run in seasons of your life, to your point, you stop thinking of like you stop thinking naturally, and you're like, man, what would somebody in this position do? Because I don't have context, right?
Right.
I don't, that this is so good. This is where I think this is where context ends, because when you
Mm-hmm.
get people who are leveling up in a space that they maybe have never experienced before, or they don't have
Mm-hmm.
people that are around them that have experienced that at that level before,
Absolutely.
they don't have necessarily somebody they could just call and say, hey, what would you do, or what did you do at this moment, or how do I
Mm-hmm.
navigate this piece? So they're often trying to think with a, they're trying to think, like they're freshmen in the game trying to think,
Mm-hmm.
what would a senior do?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, this is where the trap is. This is where you get messed
Mm-hmm.
up. Um,
Not only there where you get messed up, but also you become a senior and still try to hold on to them freshman tendencies.
oh, so good, bro.
Right? Like,
So
so
good.
you're still trying to be low level. Hey, I'm quiet. I can do this and I can move like that. Not
Yeah,
recognizing, no, you a senior.
you're a senior now. Yep.
Everyone's looking at
And
you.
you can't, oh, dude, you can't just go into any space.
You
You can't
can't.
just walk into random rooms. You can't just go into random buildings, random restaurants, random bar. Like, dude, there is a see.
Abs-
This is the piece that
I think so many people are criticized because
okay,
of where they can no longer go. So
yeah,
it makes them feel like almost like a survivor's guilt
yep,
or survivor's remorse. So now I got to go back to show how how regular I am or how normal I am and
yeah,
how I should, instead of requiring everyone else to level up,
yeah.
you lower
Dude, that's so
your.
hard. That is so hard. That's it's hard for me. I'm speaking for myself. That's hard
Mm-hmm.
because you it's lonely at the top, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
naturally want to bring people with you. You
Mm-hmm.
naturally want people to, and here's the thing, this is the other hard part, is that not everybody pops at the same time.
Absolutely.
So you could have a person who was going to end where you ended, but you just popped 3 years earlier than they did. You got your run 3 years earlier than they did, 5 years earlier
Mm-hmm.
than they did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's hard because you want to bring people along, to your point, but at the expense often of the guilt. Like, what's driving you wanting to bring people along? Are
Mm.
you wanting to bring people along because, to your point, the whole survivor's guilt, like that's starting to eat at you, and you look
Mm-hmm.
around your circle and you're like, yo, nobody from home is in this circle no more. Like nobody
Mm-hmm.
like grew up where I grew up. is in these circles no more. Like I don't talk to none of my friends from college. You know what I'm saying? Like you start thinking through those things.
Right.
And that's the piece that for me at least is the hardest is as you're on these runs, one, and this is a limiting belief, but you're not sure how long the run is going to be or if you're going to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
The hardest thing about winning a championship is trying to do it the year after.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Talk
Because
about
now
pressure.
you got the target on your back.
Yeah,
now you got the target on your back.
Now you got
you got everybody on your shoulders, and
100%.
you got your city, you got everybody on your back that you carry now, 100%. Right?
Yeah. And it's like how, like, you the Warriors, right? They did their ring ceremony in front of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody got to see the rings. They beat, I think who they played, like the Lakers or somebody. They played whoever they played
the Lakers that day.
Whooped the Lakers, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
This is them. They came out with the smoke. And so it's like that's the hard part following up with another one.
Mm-hmm.
So the person, this is a piece, man. The person that it's like and I talk about this all the time. It's like the Jeremy Lin versus the LeBron James conversation.
Absolutely.
Jeremy Lin was a spark in the pan. I don't know if anybody here that's listening remember the whole Jeremy Lin.
Linsanity.
Yeah. What was that, like probably 2015, 2016? I was in college.
Something
I know
like
that.
Yeah. It was a huge flash. Yeah.
And he went off. Wait, I'm dating myself. It was probably like 2012 because I was in college. I've been graduated by 2015.
Right.
This was probably like 2011, something like that, 2012.
Mm-hmm.
But Jeremy Lin was killing it for 10 games straight,
Absolutely.
If he was on a 10-day contract, they would have maxed him out at the end of the contract. He would have been on, superstar numbers.
Absolutely.
But he came out of nowhere and just was hot, and everybody was like, "Yo, when is this going to end?" Right? Because everybody's like, "There's no way that this guy really a superstar," and it carried him. Like he did pretty good after that. Like I mean, he wasn't like a 30. He wasn't doing 30 and 10. But he was probably doing like 18 and 5 or something like that. He was doing pretty solid. But it's like it's that performance, and you can be that where you're a flash in the pan, kill it for 2 weeks, kill it for a month in your life, kill it for a year in your life, or you could find a way to be consistently good over the long haul. And that's the hard part, right?
It is.
How do I strap up? How do I do this again? How do I do this for year 19? How do I lead the league at year 19, at year 20?
Right.
Talk to me about like what for you when it comes to year after year, because like you're not new to this. Like you're not new to the spaces that you're in. You're 10 years in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk to me about like the year after year. Like how, like what do you do to level up? What do you do to stay on top, if that's what you would call it? Like what do you do to stay active?
It's interesting you ask that question, because for me, it's being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And being uncomfortable is me tweaking all the things that I'm not that great at. Right? I naturally may walk into a room now, and because I'm now comfortable with, talking to different people, but what are the things that I'm uncomfortable with? Man, I'm uncomfortable probably with, dressing a little bit different, or making an announcement without a microphone, or when things go wrong. So now I'm always thinking through, okay, what are the small details, right, that I can do? How can I be there early? How can I see the room and make small adjustments, know who's where? If it's a photo booth, right, how can I get everybody over there to the photo booth, right, and cause a scene, so to speak, as the party started? I think that for me, it just has so much to do with just continuously self-assessing where you are in every area, and working on it. Like for me, when I walk into the room, I walk in with the confidence that I wake up at 5 a.m. to go work out. So I know this tuxedo is looking right on me.
100%.
Right?
Yeah,
100%. I know that I went to my barbershop because I go every week. Not this month, but you know what I'm talking about. Like it's No Shave November, so I'm over here grizzly. But like I go to the barbershop every week to make sure that I'm presenting myself well, right? I read over my assignment, so I know the assignment.
Mm,
Like I've done all the things and I'm doing all the small things that continuously help the natural
you're
things.
good at the basics.
Good
Being
at the
great at the
basics.
basics.
Great at the basics. Like
Yo.
if I don't continue to chase after, I'm chasing after the old me and
Yeah.
making and being better.
Right.
Better today than I was yesterday. Right? It's like, how can I continuously be better? Because if I've made it to greatness, then
Yeah.
that's it. It's time for retirement.
Oh,
But no, 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 no. Greatness is longevity.
yes. And yo, that's such a, because, dude, how, once we, I think it's so easy for once you start to hit a stride or once you start to have some success, some level of it,
Mm-hmm.
you start trying to get fancy now. And you
Mm-hmm.
you didn't do the things that actually got you there. You start moving the needle and moving the goalpost. You
Mm-hmm.
stop, you sometimes lose that hunger, you might lose that fire. Or
Mm-hmm.
to the point that you made earlier, you do what you think you're supposed to do. Not what you did to get there, but you do
Absolutely.
now what you think you're supposed to do to get to the next level or to stay there. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that's, man, I forget, somebody said it, I forget who it was. It might have been Alex Ramosi, but he talked about how being great at something means that you're just great at the basics. And it
Mm-hmm.
just means that you have practiced the basics so many times that you like you're a master. You have
Mm-hmm.
mastery now. Like you get so good at the basics. You know, when you
Absolutely.
talk about, athletes, you talk about NFL, NBA, these guys, they always start in the layup line.
Mm-hmm.
They always start
Absolutely.
every warm up, they're gonna be dribbling the basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Every warm up, they're gonna be shooting some free throws. Every warm up, they're gonna be passing the ball back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah.
They gonna, some of them have their own little routine that they get into and little shot, but like they get good at the basics.
Mm-hmm.
None of them start
Mm-hmm.
trying to take trick shots at warming
Right.
up trick shots, warming up
No.
behind the back. Like none of them doing that in warm ups.
Mm-mm.
They lay up
Mm-mm.
line, they in they, and I think that's how a lot of us really should approach our craft. Is
Mm-hmm.
that when you start getting good or you start seeing momentum, that doesn't mean that you should start to get fancy or start to do. Not saying that you don't find weaknesses in your game. This is not to say that. But it's to
Mm-hmm.
say that you don't start adding on this fanciness and these accoutrements that actually won't do anything for you. It's
Mm-hmm.
just it's just sinking sand. It's just facade that doesn't actually help you. And truly it holds you back and it slows you down because you get
Absolutely.
away from the thing that actually got you there. So I think that's so powerful. We did get away from Kanye though. We got
Yeah, yeah. Well, but no, 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 no. But just
we
what you said though, right? When you start thinking above where what got you there, right?
okay.
Like you don't stick to your basics. Stick to your basic format, right? Stay humble. Like that to me, like so humility is one of those things where I've heard people tell me, stay humble, stay humble. Nah, I determine what humility is.
Mm,
And
oh,
the thing is, I can't act like somebody else and think that I'm being humble because I'm acting like them. I have to be humble in me,
was humble for me.
in what I'm doing, right? Was humble for me. And a lot of times, to get to the Kanye thing, it's like, you push so many people away from you
Yeah.
that kept you in that core, right? That kept you at your basics. You push those people away and you allow for those yes men to
Yeah.
come into play and feed your ego. You the best, you this, you that, right?
Right. Right.
And you no longer self-assess. You no longer say you put yourself God-like, right? Like I've
Yeah.
arrived, I've made it, no one else is near me.
100%. So do you think, and this is actually I want your opinion first. Do you think that you should always have some level of accountability or always have some level of submission to some not just God, but a person that can check you, a person that can hold you accountable, call you up, yo, take that post down, yo, delete that tweet, yo, take that. Like, do you think that men, especially men, some men don't think that, but do you
Mm-hmm.
think that men should
Mm-hmm.
have that kind of level of accountability?
Definitely. Definitely. It's a must. It's a must because you can't go through life thinking that you know it all. The moment that you know it all, that's your moment of failure.
That's demise. Yeah.
Right? Like that's you on your way. You on your way in a
Yeah.
completely different direction. Like if you can allow for others and have that circle, especially men, right? Have that
Especially
circle, have
men.
that community, have that group that can speak into your life and just cause a just and I like it almost I like to call it almost like a moment of pause,
Yeah.
right? Like
Right.
that pregnant pause that Jay-Z
Mm.
used to say, right? Cause that moment of pause and be like, man, am I out of line? Man,
Yeah.
I had a moment of clarity, and I won't dive too deep into it, but I give a little overhead. But like I had a moment of clarity with a friend a couple years back, matter of fact, 2019. And I was like, man, I'm about to go back to high school, Ronnel, right? I'm about to
Mm.
do and say and act a fool, this and that and the other. Man, the next morning, he was like, bruh, you acted like, yeah, you were on one last night. And I'm like, for real? It
Yeah.
was like, no, 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 no. It was like completely outside of your character. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Wow.
And it was crazy because I didn't even remember what happened. He was just like everything. Like
Yeah.
everything. Like you got too crazy, you got too I know we on vacation, but it was just a bit much. And it
Right.
made me recognize like, whoa, even the people that respect you, even your
Mm.
friends, they should have a moment. They should be able, right, to
100%.
pull your coattail, so to
Yeah.
speak, to say,
See,
hey,
that's
hey,
gone. That's what you just
yeah,
said is gone. That is gone in today's day and age.
yeah,
That
yeah.
that level of accountability
Mm-hmm.
and transparency and being okay with being checked or being okay
Mm-hmm.
with being called out, right? Because I don't think we consider it or look at it as like, oh, this person is looking out for me and this is actually going to be beneficial to me. We often look at that kind of stuff like, oh, who they think they are. They think they better than me.
They
Man, I
hating.
was, yeah,
They
like
hating.
hating, right? I was, I had somebody over. I won't mention their name, but we had somebody over for Thanksgiving, and
Uh-huh.
family member, and I was having a conversation with them, and it's been a while since I seen them,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I was asking questions that, things like, yo, who you dating? Why
Right.
ain't you settled down? Like these kind of
Uh-huh.
questions, like, what's blah, 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 blah. Like, do you want kids? Like just these questions that you could tell was making the person uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And they were kind of just like, why we talking about this? Like, why we, and they're like, I'm not here to get coached. Like, and here's the crazy part about it. Nothing about me has
That is
changed,
true.
but ever
Mm-hmm.
since I became a coach, now the normal conversation I'm used to having, people are like, I
Yeah,
ain't your client. Like, then why are you trying to coach me? Why
absolutely.
you? I'm like, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just having a conversation. This is why I turned my passion into profit,
Mm-hmm.
because I
Yeah,
do this outside of, this is just who I am, right?
absolutely.
So, but I was just really talking to them about life and the seriousness of it, and like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
you in your 30s now. You can't be, and I think I was asking them questions that was getting them
Mm-hmm.
to think in a way that they probably weren't ready for, or what I really think it was is that they maybe had been running from and not really leaning
Mm-hmm.
into. As long as
Mm-hmm.
life is coming and you're chasing the next thing, you don't have enough time to think about where you are and what gaps you have.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes, so for me, and that's honestly, if I were to, so let me pause. So that was a conversation that I could tell that it wasn't appreciated
Mm-hmm.
having, and it wasn't even again, I wasn't like drill sergeant, just like, yo, what?
Right.
I was just like, yo, like just questions that she's like, dang, these some
Mm-hmm.
hard questions. Why you asking me
Right.
all this? This Thanksgiving, I'm trying to
Right.
chill,
Yeah.
right? But I think the reason and me and you have these talks all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the reason that me personally, I struggle with the relationships, or the relationships that I do have are with men that are much older than me, like men that are like often in their 40s or even mid 40s, because I think
Mm-hmm.
at that age, and I don't know if it's just men in my age group and they need to mature more to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
But I think most men that have matured, and what I'll also say is like married men, there's something
Mm-hmm.
about being married that matures you in a way that being single can
Absolutely.
never mature you in.
Absolutely.
Um, that I also think plays a part in it. But these are men that I can normally have these conversations with that wouldn't necessarily look at it that way or feel intimidated. But if I have a conversation with a single guy, single dude,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, yeah, man, so like, what are you doing for a living? I'll do
Right.
this. Why aren't you making more money? Who you think?
Right.
I'm like, dang, I just asked like, these are questions that we talk
Yeah.
about all the time. Like, yo, I'm trying to, so like for you, when you think through, really just that piece of being transparent, being okay
Hmm.
with being checked, being okay with somebody calling you out, do you feel like you have those kind of people in your corner, in your circle? You just described one,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
people that could be like, pull your coattail, like, yo, sit down for a minute, like, bro, chill.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I do. And I believe that you have to have those. Like, that's why we talked about, the tribe of mentors, right? One of the books that you know, uh,
100%.
recommended to me. But it's one of those things where we find we find accountability. We find how important accountability is for us. So we want to be accountable to others.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't want to, and when you figure it out, when that light bulb pops over your
Mm.
head, right? And you figure it out, you like, I don't want anyone else to miss this.
Yeah. I don't want
So
you to
I
go
want to
without
give you
this.
this. I want to give
It's
you
a
this. Like I'm
gift.
giving, it's a gift.
It's a
This is a
gift.
$1 million. This is $1 million gift for $9.99. Right? Like
Right.
this is
Right.
legit. I'm
Yes.
trying to put you up on game,
Yeah.
and I'm giving you what's helped me become successful. Now, whether you want it or not, the interesting thing about this too, for some reason, the people closest to you, especially family,
Yeah.
right? They don't receive it the same way
No.
outside of the house does.
I don't know why. I don't
I
know
don't
why.
I don't understand. Like outside the house, they look at you and they're like, yo, hey, you where I want to be. Like
Yeah.
you're like,
I think it's
talk
the
to me. Tell me.
familiarity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like the familiarity, but I think it
Yeah.
also, there could potentially be some envy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because there's really sometimes no way to explain away now how you got to where
Right.
you are and how I'm at where I'm at. Like, we had the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think sometimes that comes up. And I think, and that's to me the kind of things that happen during the holidays that break families
Yeah.
apart, that sever relationships,
Mm-hmm.
when,
Mm-hmm.
you get to these spaces. And this is a part where I was saying I was so blessed because, I got to have 8 of my family members come out for Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it was like, it was so dope because I was telling Jazz this. I was like, I never, one, like, none of my family, at least from our family group, have had seen someone, in a house like this, in a community like this, in
Mm-hmm.
a neighborhood like this, that whole thing, right? And I was like, man, I just hope that, really, I was thinking about my nieces and nephews. I was like, man, I just really want them to
Mm-hmm.
be really inspired, because for me, I was like, man, I would have loved to have had like an uncle
Yeah.
when I was 17, 18, that was
Yeah.
getting it and that could really give me game. Like,
Absolutely.
I would have loved to have somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I'm kind of on this other end now, and I'm like, man, I really wanted them to just be encouraged by it, right? And see,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted them to see what's possible, or that
Yeah.
this is just the ground floor, and go back to their houses and be like, man, like, I gotta get up out of here, right?
Right.
Whatever
Right.
they don't, it's like, it's not even no shade to their spaces,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like, once you see more, you now build this appetite. Like, you know what? If he can do it, I can do
Absolutely.
it. But the part that I really loved about it, and this is the blessing for me, and why I think I'm just so blessed to have the family that I have, is nobody looked at it like, oh, you done made it now, you big time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
nobody showed. Everybody showed up, was like, yo, like, man, you killing it. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Like, that was just
Yeah.
the energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that not everybody has that in their family.
Absolutely.
There's people that have made it, or, and I wouldn't even say that I've made it, right? But there's people that have gotten out of familiarity and have climbed to a next level. And on
Mm-hmm.
holidays, they didn't get the same responses that I get from their family. They got
Absolutely.
the, oh, you too good now. Oh, you in the
Mm-hmm.
suburbs now. Oh, you don't
Yep.
know nobody now. Oh, you can't pull up
Mm-hmm.
in my hood no more. Like, they get all that,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and so for you, right, you've been in that space much longer than I have.
Uh-huh. Absolutely.
What, like, how have you navigated that, just that journey? You've gotten out of what's common for your family.
Mm-hmm.
You have fruit. So not only do you talk the game, you don't really even talk the game, you humble, you super humble. But like, not only do you, and when I say talk the game, meaning like, not only
Yeah,
do you do what you do, or not only do you say what you do, but you actually do what you do, and you live a life that's really nice.
absolutely.
And you've been doing it for a while. Like, how
Mhm.
have you and did you navigate really just that aspect of things?
So for me, it's always been I can show you better than I can tell you, right? And I've always told people, even though I didn't have, and they didn't start listening until I got. Like until I start gaining success, until I start, moving in a different level. And I had to just recognize that they're just going to be where they are.
Yeah.
And so I'd rather you hate me for being where I am than love me for being where you are.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm just good with that because I can only
I'll
control
take
me.
that. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
take that.
I'll take that.
Like, hey, man, DJ Khaled, man, bro, when he said you either win with us or
Or
you
you
watch
watch us
us win.
win.
God did. Look,
Bar. You either
like,
win
boy,
with us or
like,
you watch us win. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, like, you either be comfortable here in my nice big house in the
Yeah.
suburbs
Yep.
with all the cars parked in the driveway
Yep.
and everybody, looking around, splashing around in the pool. You either
Exactly.
enjoy drinking the drink, right? Like you either enjoy this
Yeah.
or you just stay at home in your
You
space,
you
whatever.
just
But
watch us. You just see it on Instagram. If you
that's it. That's it. You see all the pictures that
you
everybody
just gonna
posted. Why
see
wasn't
it.
you in none of
You
the
just gonna
pictures?
be, yeah,
Right?
you just ain't gonna be tagged in the pictures.
You're just not. I
Yeah.
mean, and I'm now okay with that
Mm,
because I do things out of the most genuine space in
right.
my heart,
Right.
and I feel like when you do that, you don't have any like I don't have any frustration or anger or anxiety when it
Yeah.
comes to family coming because it's like, hey, I want you to come and enjoy this
Right.
because it's mine to provide
100%.
here for
100%.
you.
Yeah. And I think that's where, man, there's because I've had so many just emotions as I'm kind of on this run.
Hmm.
And I watch people who are very flashy, and they're intentionally flashy, meaning, they got the money phone, they,
Yeah,
they showing, they at the restaurant and taking pictures of how much they spent and how much they tipped the waiter.
come on, come
And,
on.
they doing all that. They showing, th- there's people that are there,
Hmm.
but then, and I think a lot of the people that are there, if I were to, and actually I felt some of this. So I had, and let me know, I'm curious, 'cause I don't know if this is just me or if you've ever felt
Come
this,
on,
and I had to almost check myself in it.
talk
But
to me.
we had a friend, that visited us over a couple weeks ago,
Hmm.
and she's from the city. She's from Akron. She's from where we're from,
Okay.
and from the hood,
Yeah.
South Side, right? If she listening, she know exactly who she is
Yeah.
now. And I got in a conversation with her, and I said, I forget what we were talking about something. I forget what it was. And she was trying to like dog me, like just on some plan tip, but like just trying to like dog me, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I was tell me one of your friends that's greater than me, right? And I was just saying this on some ignorant, you know,
Right,
just on
right, right.
some.
Like, hey, just
I was like,
let's
tell me.
let's
I was like, tell me one of the guy friends that you know that's doing this stuff, right?
right,
And I was like, you
right.
probably don't know one. I was like,
Mm.
even go to your employee, go to talk about your boss. Like, what does your
Uh-huh.
boss drive?
Right,
I was like, let me,
right.
and we just but like,
Yeah.
but I felt some of this boiling up, and here's why. And this, I realized why this was because I felt like I wasn't getting flowers,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
I felt like she was, to me, she acted like this was normal to her.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Ooh,
I'm like, no, 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 no. Let's make this clear.
yeah,
Like, you don't
yeah.
know anyone that's our age that's doing this. Let's be clear. You don't know anyone that's our age. And I had to, and she's like, yeah, but you got a big head, and I gotta try to shrink it down. And I was like, no, right? Like, that was the mentality though. Like, oh, you big headed, and I gotta. And I'm like, but what it told me though was the aspect of me that was trying to come out
Hmm.
was the money phone. Like, in that
Yeah,
moment, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I wanted to pull out the money phone. Like, I wanted to, and
Right.
so I
Crush you with
even
my
got a
bang.
glimpse. Yeah, I even got a glimpse of the people that normally pull out the money phone. Like, why they doing that? And if I were to
Hmm.
describe it, obviously it could be other things, but when people aren't really getting their flowers,
Mm,
and sometimes it's hard for people to give you their flowers when they don't even really like their own.
mm-hmm.
Like they
Yeah,
they 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 turn their nose up to their own flowers. They don't
absolutely.
like what they got. So the last thing that they can do is pour out of an empty cup and give you flowers that they don't even like.
Speak, speak,
And
preach.
so I just felt that rumbling. And I don't know if you've ever experienced that where, you
Yes.
were just like, yo, I feel like I got to flex on somebody. But in that moment, I was like, and it just, again, I just felt that bubbling up. But yeah, tell me,
Hmm.
like, how have you had experiences like that?
Man, multiple. I have them time after time, probably twice a week. I have them all the time, and
Twice
it's
a week.
and it's legit. It's one of those things where I recognize that we're just on two different levels, right? And I look at it from a maturity aspect, and I say, hey, you have the same capabilities, possibilities as I do,
Yeah.
right? What are you doing to either invest? What are you doing in order to pivot? What are you doing in order to grow where you are? If you're
100%.
doing nothing, well, that's where you are,
Yeah.
right? And I feel sad, right? I feel sad for him actually because I'm like I said, I want us all to win.
Yeah.
I want us all to win, and this is what you have to do in order to make yourself feel better, man. Hey, it lets me know that I really made it. It lets
Yeah.
me know that I really made it. Like
Yeah.
if
It's
you have to try to shrink my head
if you got to shrink my head to make you feel comfortable.
to make you feel comfortable.
Yeah. And that's the piece, man, where I don't want anybody coming into my spaces that don't
Mm,
celebrate the spaces. Whatever it
yeah,
is. It don't matter what it
yeah,
is.
absolutely.
Like for me, that is honor, right? It is
Mm-hmm.
it is
Mm-hmm.
honorable. It's honoring to somebody to walk in their space knowing that you're wild and saying,
Mm-hmm.
wow.
Right.
You know how disrespectful it is? Do you know how disrespectful it is for you to not be able to
Yeah.
afford $300 wine, and then somebody buys you a bottle of $300 wine and you drink it
Right.
like you did the $10 bottle of wine? You you know how disrespectful
That's
that is?
disrespectful. That's
When you get the
disrespectful.
$300 bottle of wine, it should be like, wow, I've
Yeah.
never been able to afford something like this. Or man, like you don't act like you've been here before.
Don't.
Like that
Don't.
that is poor advice.
Don't act like you here now.
don't
Right?
don't
Just
act like
because
you
I gave just because I gave it to you, don't act like you here now, right? Because you're
Yeah.
not here now.
Yeah.
And if I'm bro, we just had the moment. So at all of my spaces, I love to have people around, right?
Right.
Like my wife will tell you, when we go on vacations, I would rather go in groups,
Yeah.
right, than just go just the two of us because I feel like as a group we could just do more, right? We could
Right.
just have just these different experiences. And so for me, I love group outings, so
Okay.
dinners, bowling, whatever it is, right? And I love to have the people around me that I like. When
Right.
there's a few, and I hate it when not everyone that I like and that I love can be there,
Yeah.
right? But then when I have like a few of those that I really don't rock with,
Right.
or they just on some different level of thinking, right? Maturity, and to your point, right? Like need to shrink your head or need to show you that what I once had a family member ask me, right now you got all of this. Why would you want more? I was like, why would I want more? What do you mean?
Jesus. Yeah.
Why would I want like this is the base? What do you mean this is the baseline? This is more than what you ever seen. Why would you want any more than this? You need to be humble.
Mm.
You need to be appreciative of what you have. I'm like,
Wow.
I'm very appreciative of what I have, but
100%.
I believe that if God put me here at this point,
I gotta
He has
maximize.
more for me.
Yeah, I gotta maximize everything that's there.
He has more for me,
Everything that's in there
right?
has got to get maximized. Got to squeeze out everything.
So so for me, it's keeping the right people and the people that I
Right.
enjoy being around, and I'm okay with the people that don't want to be around me. Hey, it's okay if you can't stand to be here.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. And I'm hoping that I'm confident that we're not speaking over a lot of people's heads. I'm confident that there's other
Absolutely.
people that know, and to each his own, right? So
Hmm.
for you, that could be you grew up in Section 8 and you're the first one that's not on Section 8 no more.
Hmm.
That could be you're the first one in your family that made six figures.
Yeah.
That could be you're the first one in your family that got married before having children. Like I'm not sure Like you've got to be able to apply this to your own scenario. And I'm like I said, I'm hoping we're not talking over people's heads because we have been possession heavy, but like I think that's the fruit of it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
often that's what changes other people. Like they don't like you could. This is the crazy part, right? You could have $1 million in the bank, but as long as
Mm-hmm.
you don't show it, people don't change.
Absolutely.
As long as you don't show that you're got $1 million in the bank and you don't change your lifestyle, you don't get a crazy house, you don't get a crazy car, you're still a millionaire. But
Mm-hmm.
no one at this point sees it at that level yet, right? And so it's really them that begin to change. And so, my desire, man, is that really, and I know we've been over an hour at this point, but my desire really is that, this conversation really just truly inspired you guys to continue to be really the best version of yourselves. And I think what me and Ronnel uncovered was that no matter what you go out and try to do, people gonna have something to say.
Oh
If you're
yeah.
not successful, people gonna have something to say. If you're extremely
Mm-hmm.
successful, people are gonna have something to say. And so I'm encouraging you to give people something to talk about, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
give people a reason to be talking about what you're doing, not because you're being controversial, because you being a jerk, and because you trying to be condescending and step on people on the way to the top. Like that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying
No.
is to be honorable in how you move, and they either gonna win with us or they're gonna watch us win. But I'm not gonna no longer let my winning be determined on how many people are coming with me, and
Mm.
I'm gonna win regardless. Like it's an abundant mindset that just says, like I'm winning regardless. I'd
Mm-hmm.
love to have you, but I don't need you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't. I'd love for you to be a part of this whole thing. I love for you to come over for the holidays. I'd love for you to come with us on vacation and trips and all that kind of stuff. I'd love for you to be at the
Absolutely.
floor seat at a game, but I don't need it. I don't need you. I desire it, but it's not a need. And I
Mm-hmm.
think when it comes to making the lights pivots, this is probably one of the hardest pieces is the relationships and the people that you have around you. It's easy to go and get I won't say it's easy, but it's comparative to the relationship aspect. It's easy to go out and get the bag. It's harder to
Mm-hmm.
learn how to divide the bag, to learn how to navigate it, to deal with your
Mm-hmm.
own challenges as you're leveling up and as you're going to the next level. And yeah, we're just coming from this vantage point of people who have either been leveling up for quite some time or in the midst of leveling up or on a run, really trying to give people some game and some value that may be in the midst of that themselves and may not necessarily have a place to speak out, that may understand where they're coming from, especially
Mm-hmm.
especially men. I think there's
Yeah.
a lot of male aspects of what we talked about that may impact men that doesn't necessarily correlate as much to women. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah. So any final words, any final thoughts you have before we wrap up?
Man, to what you just said, I just want to, for all listeners to know that, what we're speaking of is not where we have always been. Right? I remember living in the projects, jumping off the second floor onto the mattresses and rolling down Spring Hill,
Jeez.
like right on the west side of Akron. I remember those moments, those times, but the recognition is that if you decide to, you can completely change the trajectory of your future, right? You are only in control of you. Control those emotions, control the way that you move throughout life, and recognize that no barriers in front of you, right? Eliminate all barriers in front of you in order to get to the bag. Because my belief is we do what we have to do in order to do what we want to do.
I love that.
And if we continue to focus on the things that we have to do, we'll be exactly where we want to be.
I love that. I love that. Well, there it is, folks. Remember here that life is all about the pivots, and those who decide to make the pivots decide to become successful. Peace.